Morning, all. You'd be forgiven if you're listening on podcast for thinking Nadia's up to something. She is.
Morning.
Let's have a listen.
Who remembers this?
It's like Where's Wally?
Who remembers me doing? I am like Where's Wally?
And we'll talk about the Mandela effect in a minute with Where's Wally.
Who remembers me doing this through the pandemic? Mark, see if anyone can remember what it is.
Well, you've asked, so let's wait for you to come in.
No, I can't see it from
you. I know, but baby, you don't seem to have the concept that people need time to answer.
Yeah. All right, well, you tell them what we're doing today.
Okay, well, I will. We're going to talk about the fact that, did you know that Where's Wally has a walking stick? We didn't know that last night. We're going to talk about banter. Can you ban banter? Hi, Tori. This is to do with a... yes, everyone remembers Nads. Leo does, Jordan Stevenson, Tori.
Are they all still doing it?
Zoe Agnew is still recovering from your podcast like that. Gabby contacted me this morning, or us, on our chat, Zoe, and said, I'm going to read out, I hope Gabby doesn't mind, I'm going to read out her message. It was very funny about yesterday's podcast, which if you haven't seen it, I asked you 22 questions about sex. Have you forgotten already?
Yeah. I worked it from my mind.
What is fucking wrong with you? I've learned fuck all about you guys, all the subject matter, says Gabby, but this is already my favorite podcast ever. It was good. So we're going to talk about banter. We're going to talk about whether you can ban it, because the Labour Party have got a law passing through the Houses of Parliament which seeks to ban banter or overhearing stuff we don't like in pubs and universities, and some lords are saying this is ludicrous, you can't do this. Lords? Why lords? House of Lords. We're also going to talk about women who are increasingly ditching their husband's surnames.
I didn't know people were still taking people's surnames.
So we're going to talk about the strength of a surname, what's in a surname. Isn't every surname ultimately a man's name and all that kind of stuff? And we're also going to talk about, it's not a repeat of the same story. This is the White Lotus star who Saturday Night Live have pushed back. She had an apology from one of the actors in it, but Saturday Night Live have pushed back saying she needs to get over it. Essentially, or they're all laughing about it backstage. She's more than welcome to come on the show. So we're going to talk about that, because I wonder whether that ties in with banter. Do you know what I mean? Is that banter gone too far?
You can't.
Yeah. Anyway, so how are you feeling after doing that? Hot and sweaty.
Does anyone remember who it was? It was a guy called Zach Bush.
Oh yeah.
And it was about, you do it 3 times a day. It takes about 3 minutes, and it's all about pumping. You have to do it at speed
Pump,
release nitric oxide. Is that the right one?
Oh,
MeTube, is that the right thing we're trying to release?
I think unfortunately MeTube isn't in the chat at the moment, which means our entire frontal lobe is gone.
Is it nitric oxide? Christopher Cundall's quite good on this sort of stuff.
Without the two of them, we have zero brain capacity. There's no disrespect to anyone else, by the way, but they are the two Mekons. They're the Mekons of our community. Endorphins.
No, not endorphins. No, it's
nitric
oxide or nitric gas.
That's laughing gases. Read.
Well, something that we need. So this week's Diary of a CEO.
MeTube says yes.
No, that's no good, MeTube. Give me more.
That's very, very...
Oh, it is? Oh, you mean, yes, it is nitric oxide.
What do you want to say?
Because I was waiting for it to correct me.
Zoe, the rest of us all are thick. No, we're not. We're not thick.
So I believe, and MeTube, you can correct me on this, or anyone, Christopher Cundall. Yeah, Christopher Cundall says it's right. Is that nitric oxide is so damn good for you, right? I think it gives you more oxygen. No, not the NOS that you create yourself.
The NOS.
What's it called?
What's it called? The laughing gas whippets.
NOS.
NOS. I used to call it NOS.
NOS. When did you used to call it?
The girls said,
Dad,
it's not NOS.
Don't go to Crystal Palace Park.
No, or go to Brixton Station.
Everywhere. But anyway, nitric oxide, thank you, Liz D, regulates your blood flow. But the more you get of it, the better.
Regulates your blood flow?
No, your blood flow. It's oxygen. Listen, fuck knows what it is. But Diary of a CEO has done like an hour and a half on how it is the answer for everything. Now, I was looking back to some.
Can I say your nows disallow anyone being able to answer you?
Does it?
Yeah, what you do with the now
is... Because I'm trying to find myself.
No, you're not trying to find yourself. What you're saying is everyone shut the fuck up and stay fucking silent. No, I'm still navigating my
totally wrong. How long have you been married? How long?
Too long.
You
can't
know
remember,
nothing
you
about
can't
me.
remember last night's podcast.
Now is me trying to stay focused
Okay, go on.
and not burst off into a different area.
Zoe Agnew says, I remember John Campbell never got into the hype. I slept with him for 2 years.
I might go back to him.
And that was before she had AirPods. So he would just talk on our pillow.
Elizabeth Marmon, I can never remember which orders that does it. I don't think it matters.
Knox. Michu says not to be confused with Knox.
But anyway.
Thank you. Can I just say thank you?
God.
One person in the room, right at the top talked about the matter at hand. And they said, you've got to do banter because it makes working tolerable.
We are going to do banter just once I've finished talking about oxygen flow in the blood. Anyway, a video was shown to me by one of the girls or somebody recently, and it was back at the pandemic. And I was like, God, I looked so fit. I looked so slim. And I know what it was I was doing. It was the Zach Bush religiously 3 times a day. And so it's great for weight loss, but it's also really good for blood flow. But apparently, on Diary of a CEO, they're saying they think it's an answer for Alzheimer's.
So what you've heard here is doing your bush 3 times a day really helps. And I was trying to encourage Nadia to have more sex yesterday in our
So
podcast.
go to Zach Bush and do his thing 3 times a day and have a think. See how you feel.
Now, last night we were watching The Last of Us. I don't know why the Mandela effect came up in conversation. We were talking about the Mandela effect. Does anyone know what the Mandela effect is?
I had never heard of it before, and I love it now.
Well, I don't, because I think it's an entirely spurious piece of nonsense. It was coined in 2009 by someone who said the vast majority of people thought that Mandela had died in prison.
We didn't.
We didn't.
We were always saying Free Mandela.
We were singing Free Mandela.
We'd sing it, oh, Free Mandela. I never thought he died in prison.
So,
we were always fighting to get him out of prison.
So the idea of the Mandela effect is where a large group of people inaccurately know something or remember something as something.
Well, I suppose
And
there were
it's
many
become almost
people.
an urban
He was
myth.
in there for so long. What was it, 20 years? I mean, his story is so.
But why? No, I get what it's saying. Yeah, it relates to memory call. But why the Mandela effect? No one with half an inch of memory. If you think of Mandela, you think of him being released and becoming the president of South Africa.
Well, anyway, some people obviously don't. Oh, it's so hot. Please give me the door open.
Whenever it's open, you say you're too
I know,
cold.
because that's what I'm like.
Do you want to meet me to open it?
Yes, please. So it was revealed to me yesterday, this Mandela effect. Because that's the way they say it. That's a proper way to say it, Mandela.
Mandela. You sound Spanish.
Like Sawalha. Everyone says.
But why, when you say it,
Like
does it sound like you're
Nadia.
about to order a paella?
Okay, all right. Why are we talking about it?
I don't know. It's just what we're talking
We haven't
about
got
last
time.
night. No, we
We
haven't.
need to get to banter.
Okay, let's get crack on. So what is banter for you? Tell us what banter is. What do
Right.
you understand banter
Okay,
to be?
I've got an interesting example of this. Years ago, I went to this bullying convention, all about bullying.
Nora Doyle, we watched him come out of prison.
We did.
It was historic.
And then he became president for years.
No one didn't thought he died.
But anyway, maybe it was before he came out. I think it was before he came out. People assumed he died.
Yeah. Oh, look, a lot of the Irish saying Caroline Faulkner a bit of a crack. Nora Doyle, the Irish do great banter. Zoe, banter is what people used to bully others and pretend it's funny. Good
Right.
definition.
Okay. So this anti-bullying convention thing I went on, we had this, and I went with Maddie, and it was this huge. They had this wall, and they had so many different like post-it notes up, saying, and you had to put them. Is that bullying or is that banter?
Oh wow.
And it was so interesting because I thought, I'm going to be good at this. I was stuck. A lot of the time I was stuck.
Were you literally paused, not knowing where to put things?
Yeah, I was like, and both Maddie and I were. It's like, God, it's quite hard, isn't it?
It is really hard.
And that's why I think the idea of this is insane, what they're talking about. When I look back to when I was much younger, I was very quick, slowed down massively. And I just I would have said I was somebody that was very good at bantering. But when I look, and it was like my early 20s that somebody said something to me about it. I don't know, something about like, sometimes I just can't like say what I want to say because you just come at it so quick. And they were really upset, this person that I knew very well. And I remember at the time, like fighting back at what this person said, but then really, really thinking about it and realizing actually it can be incredibly bullying.
Yes.
If you are faster at saying stuff, it doesn't mean you're cleverer. It doesn't mean just I've got that sort of brain. Now I realise it's partly my ADHD brain, because I've been going that. So it's like a pinball machine, and you can get into a vibe where you're really enjoying it because you're going all over the place. You will have no idea. And it was so interesting that at this anti-bullying campaign, they said you would be amazed how many people have had no idea that what they're saying is leaving the other person feeling.
I've got a theory on what I think.
Feeling like uncomfortable or unhappy. So it's
I mean, huge numbers of people here. Zoe clarifying that for you, the Irish crack is a friendly form of kind of ribbing. My idea of what.
Well, why is that different from banter?
But I'll tell you why. Because I think banter. People do extreme banter, and when it tips into bullying, is when the two parties involved in the bantering aren't equal participants. Let me give you a really good example. Let me give you a really good example. Me and my mum, we banter, or have over the years bantered our way all the way around Greenfigure Hell. Now, if you were to write the words down that we're saying to each other on paper, divorced from the agreement that me and my mum have that we're going to kind of rib each other and know that actually it's a form of affection, you would go, bloody hell, that's harsh. You can't say that. That's this, that's that. But banter, I think banter's working, and it is banter, when the person bantering knows that the other person's game and isn't going to be hurt, and you're not actually getting too personal.
Exactly, but I do think those lines can get. I remember years and years ago.
Oh, it's taken advantage of.
Because me and my dad, I think it happens a lot in families, not on purpose, but they don't realise that it's sometimes quite hurtful. And I remember years and years ago, my dad, because we just used to constantly do his accent, because everyone would laugh and he'd laugh sometimes, and it would be so funny. And Dina is such a brilliant impersonator. And then one day he just like blew up a bit, not much. And we were like, oh my God, is this upsetting him? We didn't know. And so I think if you continue past, because Christopher Cundall says that, I suppose it's all with intent, what the intent is. But you could be bantering, not knowing that the intent is actually, you think it's good because you think you're being funny and everybody's having a good time, and not realise that actually the other person is upset. Well,
as Faith Goodman says, I mean, that's what I think banter is. That doesn't mean I don't think people use the word banter to justify bullying. And I think that's where the words become really kind of misused and kind of made redundant. I think people now use it as an opportunity to dig and dig and dig and dig. And I actually think it's a really good point that bantering is about relentlessness too. Some people can relentlessly hector and go out.
No, I think that's bullying. I think that's bullying.
But it's usually off the back of that. We would call it bullying, but it's often when you see people do it on, say, reality shows and stuff, people go, I'm only bantering.
But you see, they say I'm only joking. But I think my definition of banter, right? Because I think banter can tip into bullying, but my definition of banter, good banter, that would be a terrible shame if people didn't do. Like, when you first go into work and everyone's like, that's banter. It's like, or like you might go into a shop and you just have a bit of a fun interaction with somebody. And it's a bit like tennis, back and forth, back and forth. That's banter.
Yeah, Faith,
and it's kind of gentle, laughing with each other, but it's like Elaine says, it's when it goes into taking the piss out of somebody, seriously taking out the piss, then that goes into love people being funny. But banter is usually taking the piss. It's picking on one person, isn't it?
Yeah, and as Faith says, what is the problem? People often say, what's the problem? It's just banter, and then you can't come back at them. And in a weird way, that statement,
that's
Faith,
the point.
Victim shames the victim of the bully. It puts the onus on the person who's being ribbed to be able to laugh at themselves. Now,
but I think that's I think you cannot stop banter. So I think what you have to do is we have to be stronger in the way that we deal with it, which is to just not laugh.
Well,
sometimes you might laugh along with something and you don't like it. You've just got to go, it's not funny.
Well, this is the ludicrous story, Christopher. Thank you. Christopher's example was that he was bantering with his sister and a bystander said, I'll call the police if you want.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So funny.
But sorry, because you didn't listen to that. That's the whole thing with the White Lotus, isn't it? It was, she stood up and they've said sit back down.
Yes.
Because it's not bullying.
Yes.
It's banter. But she has categorically said
She didn't.
that she was really hurt.
Yeah.
And so without a doubt now, that to me is bullying because they've backed up what they've said, even when the person has said it's hurt me.
But okay, here's an interesting litmus test for anyone who says it's just banter, I'm not bullying. If the person you're bantering with turns around to you and says it's not landing as banter, I feel bullied, and you persist to justify what you're doing, it's no longer banter.
Yeah.
It can't be
Can
banter.
you imagine if somebody said that's upset me and you'd carry on doing it?
I think it's a stunt.
That's a bully.
We'll talk about, the reason this is kind of such a hot topic today is that the House of...
Yeah.
All right. No, I just wondered whether you wanted... Oh, right, sorry. The House of Lords is pushing back on a bill that the government are trying to pass. And the bill is... Sorry, hang on, bear with me 1 second. This is a bill that the Starmer and Rayner want to bring in, which could ban patrons in pubs from talking about transgender rights or even religious issues. This is the idea that they want to put in place rules that mean that pubs and universities principally can protect people from overhearing stuff.
Oh, come on.
That's potentially offensive. Now, my problem with that is you can't legislate for people to talk offensively. You have to enact the choice of walking away, stepping away, or engaging with them. Or if it's not directed at you, then it's not bullying or banter with you.
But also, it's like, where will it end? Because there could be 50 things that I find offensive that you don't.
Exactly.
And I think this sort of thing is really dangerous. And I'll tell you why. Look at what's happening in America. Bad actors come in and they wind people up about this. They wind people up when you try and over nanny state people. What happens is extremists, fundamentalists like Trump use that as red meat to get people angry and say, oh, I can't say anything anymore. Oh, we need to shut down. We need to shut down everything. Like they are in America.
This is utterly ludicrous.
This is
Angela Rayner's
insane.
So the idea is that ministers have proposed that employers must protect workers from being harassed at work by third parties, such as customers or clients. And that's not directed at them. It's if, like, you're serving behind a bar and you're having to listen to offensive chat. Now, I can't help but feel that what's happened here is someone has said, I was in a pub the other day and I heard someone at the bar talking about blah. Look, I've heard the most offensive stuff in bars, but what I choose not to do is stand at the bar or alongside the person saying it. I've got a question.
So if you've got a group of men going, oh, look at her, she's gorgeous over there, she's gorgeous. Would they not be allowed to do that anymore?
Well, that's
because most women will find that offensive.
Yeah, well, I think
this is just a waste of fucking time. It's like it's not going to be put into place. They can't police it. But what it does is it gives red meat to extremists who want to say we all our rights are being taken away.
Anyway, so Lord Young of Acton, the founder of the Free Speech Union, has tabled some amendments to stop this happening. I don't see how you can enact this. I think it's madness. And on that note, with White Lotus, what's happened with the young lady from White Lotus, I'll just pop up an image of her. This is the impersonation of her on the left from Saturday Night Live. She says that she received an apology, and the program makers have gone so far as to say, well, she must have received an apology from someone involved in the sketch, because rumor has it that all of the cast and all of the crew have been ripping and ribbing the idea that she's been offended behind the scenes.
That's so horrible.
Which is just so horrible.
So you're upset, and guess what? Behind your back, everyone's laughing even more. That is so awful.
I don't even understand why even a program. It does speak to the.
Who is this? Is this the producers of the program?
Well, they're saying it. The sort of members of the cast and creative team are sort of sniggering in a sense of the fact that she's been offended, and their argument is her best sort of comeback is come on the show and push back and sort of rib us. But if you're not a willing engage, I mean, I know that you have roasts, with comedians but that's for comedians to roast other people who are willing to be roasted. If someone's actually said, I don't like this, I think you could easily just issue an apology. She's not political. She's not a politician.
Her point was a good one, which is she enjoys SNL. But this was just about somebody's looks, which is cheap. and not funny and not clever.
I agree.
Awful.
So there you go. Okay, let's talk briefly about women who are ditching husbands' surnames. Nadia didn't even think this was a thing. Anyone here who's in possession of their husband's surname, or anyone here who's married who quite proudly said, no, I don't want my husband's surname, or anyone here with children who have double barrel surnames, to acknowledge the two surnames of the parents. This is always a curious and faith. Yes, you've got your lovely late husband's surname, Elaine Ginolfi. Yes, Mandela. Is there any issue with that? Does it feel old-fashioned? Lisa Robson, me, Zoe Agnew. They're saying this is very much a Gen Z thing, that more and more younger people are refusing to take their partner's surname. Nadia's only ever taken my surname for the British gas bill.
And then what happens what then do you feel when you have children?
Yeah, I will never take another name. Always been very strong on this, says Zoe.
Because I would have liked really it to be both of our names, our surnames, because why should it just be Mark's surname? But it's such an odd name.
See, the weird thing about all of it is we can get very protective of our own surname. I'd have thought women. So, for example, let's say my mum. My mum changed my mum got married. She became Diane Ball. When I was born, I was Mark Ball. And in her feminist, when she was at the peak of her feminist era, she ditched the Ball. She went to the level of getting my name changed. I have to have always, every time I get a passport, I have to take a document that proves my change of name. And for her, it was a demonstration of feminist right to take her maiden name. And then some smart ass drew her attention to the fact that her maiden name was her father's name. And so that sort of patriarchy, if it's a push against patriarchy, it's an ineffective one because we're trapped in it.
Abby Reed, I'm divorced, but I still have his surname until my son is older. Yes, it's that thing of the family all wanting the same name, isn't it?
So it's the surname, you talked about earlier today how you feel sad that the girls don't have Sawalha in their name. And actually, I feel sad about that now we've talked about it. I think there was a time where I felt very proud of the Adderley surname and but now I think it's totally antiquated and out of the art.
Ridiculous. Bloody hell, we bloody carry them and ravage our bodies with them.
Me too.
God knows what.
If the name was cooler sounding than mine, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think that happens often, doesn't it?
Jackie Vellino, I've kept my ex-husband's name because I wanted to be the same name as my boys.
That's it.
Wow. Lee Jordan, I got married last year and did not take my husband's name. It honestly never occurred to me to change it.
Yeah, never occurred.
Yeah, there's a tradition. Let me just see if did I take it? Oh yeah, look at this map. I've got a map of the world. Do most married women around the world carry their own last name? Now, what's interesting is in the dark blue, these are all the countries that the majority of married women carry their own name. All of North Africa and the Middle East, women carry their own name.
No,
China,
not North Africa. No.
Yeah, look, it's here.
Absolutely not.
Well, why would they? And
that's wrong.
But majority of the married women who carry their husband's last name
only Moroccans.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Could this be about? Isn't there that odd thing in some cultures? So it's mostly Western countries, apart from Russia. It's Europe, Australia, America, Brazil. The majority of married women carry their husband's last name.
How?
But
strange.
in the Middle East here,
no.
But isn't the woman's name her father's name? Isn't there still that sort of, doesn't it still, I mean, again, if you go far enough back, it's always the family name. And then does the family name not pass down through the woman?
Oh, look, traditionally, we went to Morocco and traditionally everyone keeps their family name, really?
Yeah, yes, it's interesting. So look, the whole of North Africa, look at that map.
Greeks don't take the husband's name. Good God, I'm utterly shocked.
Greeks don't. There were 3 countries in Europe, Greece, I can't remember what the other 2. In Spanish-speaking countries, people have 2 names. Both the mother and the father's names are passed on.
Oh, quite right.
Yeah.
We're in the ark here.
Yeah. See, that was quite surprising. In Islam, women don't take the husband's name. That will be why most of the Middle East is the woman's surname. Wow.
I've got to ask my dad this.
Wow.
I don't think this is true.
I love it when Nadia doesn't know something.
I don't know anything.
Tori, in Italy, do you take the man's name in Italy? In Italy, my mother-in-law has kept her maiden name on her passport, Elaine. It is me too. It's the Western patriarchy.
Teresa says, yes, Nadia, I'm sad. I never double-barreled my kid's name to include mine. I know it's weird, isn't it?
Well, why don't we change it and then we can give Maddie her middle name that she wants? Let's do the whole kit and caboodle. The Arab and African always keep their father's names. So the mother will keep her father's name.
But you know, where my dad's from, as soon as you have a
How does it ever
child,
change?
you become Farid, mother of Farid, Abu Farid. So your first son becomes your name, man and woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tori, you're still Heret. So when they take the mother's and
Heret.
father's name, what happens when the children marry?
They're going on and on and on.
Yeah,
we get names like...
Fucking hell, it looks like a Scrabble board. Sawalha-Adderley works together, and it's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? Sawalha-Adderley. We should do that. I mean, obviously, there's a YouTube channel named after them. I mean, they're named after a YouTube channel. Okay, well, that's a lot. I've got a funny clip here, though. Let's play this funny clip. This clip, it just made me laugh. Someone decided to strap a camera.
Oh, hang on. I had intention of changing mine when we got married, but when it came down to it, I love this. It made me sad, and I don't know why. Victoria Moore. Oh, that's so sweet, because maybe you just felt like you were giving away a bit of yourself. That was like, I mean, you are handed, but as Mark says, it would have been your dad's name anyway.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh, look, Nora Doyle. I'm doing Write Their Names embroidery, and there are 4 Palestinian names. Your name, father's name, grandfather name, and family name.
You're doing the thing that Dina did, the 100 names. Anyone that does that is, in my estimation, like that.
Absolutely.
It is so hard what you're doing.
Faith, our sons have double-barreled with both our names, but this is due to my maiden name disappearing when my parents died and wanted it to continue. I understand that.
Legacies.
Okay, well, this is footage. I just thought this was quite funny. This is footage of a man who decided to, a cat owner, who decided to attach a camera to his cat to see what he gets up to in the day. And he got sort of like an unwholesome surprise. Put a camera on my cat and found out that he's the local bully. Just listen to him.
Oh my God, how funny. He's horrible. Oh my God. Look at his lips.
Yeah, look. He's on the
Oh, you have to show Maddie.
Hang on, I forgot he moved on. Or a QB. Hang on, heads off. Pushes everyone out of the way.
He's horrible. That's not fancy.
Everyone knows that it's the local bastard.
Hello.
Yeah, he's just minding his own business. Next to a bird.
Let's go. This one's trying to hunt him out. This one's brave. The sound.
I know. Aren't they weird?
Just goes to show, stand up to the bully.
Exactly.
That was amazing.
That was great, wasn't it? Laugh out loud. This is my patch. Absolutely. You have to respect cats, says Victoria Moore. You've just given me an idea, Habibi, Nadia, and Mark, Sophia Lopez.
Oh, Sophia.
Oh, that was fun. Thanks, guys. Trump's America.
Enjoy the food.
Trump's America much later today. Something else will be landing on the channel as well. So anything else you want to say?
Nora Doyle says that's not banter.
That's not banter. That's a slap in the face.
All right, lovelies. Lots of love.
Have a great day.
Bye.